Well, welcome everybody to Rev Up for Success Radio, our fast-paced and energized show here at Raven International Broadcasting, the most positive and leading positive radio show on the planet. And that's why I love being part of it. I've been part of Raven International for over 3.5 years, and we've done about 120 shows. And now we're able to broadcast on YouTube too. So you can find us just about anywhere. And I'm excited to bring my guest on today. And each week I bring you somebody that will inspire you. And this is what I like to say. I like bringing inspiring people and ideas together to inspire you to reach your possibilities. Isn't that sound cool? Yeah.
That's great.
And today we have Clifton Anderson on, and I can't wait to introduce him. So good morning, Clifton.
Good morning, Claudia. How are you?
I'm good. And Clifton and I met a couple of years ago. And Clifton has been on my show before, and he's such a powerful guest that I said, come back, come play with me, and let's do this next level of what we can create between us. So I'm
absolutely great to be here. Thank you again.
Well, and just so you know, Clifton, I love calling my guests the navigators because they're like the lighthouse to the rest of us to show us the way, how to get around those potholes and maneuver around the detours. And that's why, and you all say yes, and you're willing to pay it forward to help my guests, my listeners, to be more successful. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. That's a great way to describe the work. And of course, you are a lighthouse as well. So thank you for your work and all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let me tell them a little bit about you. I'm going to read a little from your bio.
Sure.
Clifton Anderson is founder and CEO of Treasure Holders International, which was founded to empower highly successful individuals match their business mind with a leader's heart. As an executive coach, he's guided business leaders throughout the world to achieve remarkable results and lasting influence. That's the answer.
Yes.
Prior to forming his own consulting firm, Clifton served as senior executive of 3 world-class multi-billion-dollar companies, and that's what I heard about first when I first met you. I was so impressed, including serving as CFO or Chief Financial Officer of the wonderful company, a cool name of a company.
Yeah.
Who owns Fiji Water, Palm Wonderful, Teleflora, among other brands. And he reached this position in 17 years faster than the typical CFO of a major company. We want to hear how you did that. Clifton has been retained by such organizations as General Electric, Dell, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, First Solar, Broadcom, Amerijet, and the City of Commerce. And he has advised dozens of diverse industries in 25 countries, you lucky duck, on 4 continents. Very cool. I want to go with you next time. And he holds an MBA from the Wharton School where he received, I love this about you, you so deserve it. He received the prestigious Dean Patrick Harker Leadership Award, the highest honor bestowed upon a graduating student. And you reside right here in Southern California.
That's right.
I just love reading your bio because it's just so powerful, and your personality is, you've got this humbleness, this gentle spirit, but you are so brilliant. I just want you to know you are so brilliant.
Well, thank you for that, Claudia, for those kind words.
Well, and I'm not just boosting up your ego or anything. You truly are. When I first met you, you were speaking in a group of one of our wonderful friends, Bob Donnell, his Next Level group, and you were speaking and you have this gentle spirit, and I'm thinking, here's this man that's a key figure, a CFO, and did it 17 years faster, and you're just gentle, humble, and so tell us your story.
Oh, great. Well, thank you again. It's a pleasure to be here. And, Claudia, I, like so many people, growing up, I had a dream and a vision of doing this kind of work of speaking. And, I listened to some really well-intentioned advice that I got at the time from some adults. And, they told me to, do the responsible thing, find a stable source of income. And that's what I decided at that time. I was, one thing I knew is I was really gifted in terms of, very analytical, but also very creative. And as I thought about, different career paths of maybe communications or even engineering, business seemed to be somewhat of a blend of those. And I decided that I would study business. My undergraduate degree is in accounting. And I decided I wanted to be the chief financial officer of a big company one day. And I, as you mentioned in my bio, got there and realized pretty quickly I did not want to be the CFO of anyone's company.
Really?
Yeah, it was something I describe it as getting to the top of my career mountain, only to discover that it wasn't my mountain. And, one of the things that I really believe is that we're here, all of us, each of us is here for a very specific purpose. And it's not to knock CFOs. One of the things that I say is that as long as I was in that role, I was actually taking someone else's seat. And in a lot of ways, because there are people who are really meant to do that type of work. I enjoyed it. I was really good at it, but it really wasn't what I was meant to do. And as I reflected, I realized that coaching and developing was the best part of any job that I had throughout my career. I would coach my team members, and before long, I started giving coaching and advice very informally to my peers, and then eventually people even senior to me in the organization on specific areas around communication, for instance. So one of the things that I really, encourage people to do is just ask that question. And I don't regret any of the journey, because when I talk about leadership and when I'm coaching and giving feedback to executives and working with different groups, I speak from a place of personal experience. It's not theoretical for me. I've encountered just about virtually every business and kind of human resource or leadership challenge throughout my life and my career. So all of that experience really helped prepare me for the work that I feel I'm called to do, and the work that I'm doing. So about 6.5 years ago, I moved into this space and haven't looked back. So I thoroughly enjoy it.
6.5 years, wow. Well, that was kind of a big step for you. Did it take courage to make that move, or it just seemed like you were drawn into it?
Yeah, so I'll in the interest of transparency, I'll share. And I love talking about this, because it really, I think, provides inspiration for people who might be going through something or have experienced something similar themselves. But I had been working, with the company, and came in for a very specific purpose. And, I did that. And I remember going into work one day, and there was a guy who was standing on the corner, and I was waiting at the traffic light. And I would get in about an hour and a half before the day officially started. And on this particular day, I was about 30 minutes behind my normal schedule. And I'm waiting at the line, and there was a guy standing there, and he had his arms stretched out, his eyes were closed, and he had not the little white, earbuds that we wear, but the big ones. His eyes were closed, and he was just snapping, and I was like, "Look at that fool!" And fortunately, the light was red long enough for my feelings to evolve from really being judgmental and critical to being envious. And I realized that, I was the fool, because he was a lot happier about going where he was going that morning than I was. And I think, in my experience, God really speaks to us in a lot of different ways. And that was one of even a very small epiphany that I had, and a message that, maybe I should be doing something else. So that's really where that planted the seed. And a couple of months later, I was actually off, preparing and doing the work that I'm currently doing. So it can be a loud bang, or it can be a small whisper. But I think the key is to listen to those prompts, to pay attention to those nudges, and to really do the work that we're meant to do.
I love that. And I think back over my lifetime, and I've had those too. And you kind of want to make a note of them so you don't forget them, because
That's right.
beautiful moment. It really is.
Exactly.
It's exquisite. It
Absolutely. That's a
really
great
is.
word for it.
It is. It just, when I feel it. And I'm just going to quickly share, before I wrote the Savvy Women book, before I published that book, I was actually trying to create a woman's movement out in my area and calling it Savvy Women. And I was just having a lot of challenges getting people to come, getting the women to come, getting them to let go of a little bit of time to nourish and invest in themselves. And I couldn't make it happen. I was working hard, and I was heading to a radio station down toward Orange County that was going to promote this event. And on the way, I felt this, it's not a movement yet, it's a book first.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I get chills still thinking about that epiphany.
Yes, absolutely.
I was driving, singing, and and I said, no more books. I already had my first book out, and it was, a long journey. And I was like, no more books. And then by the time I got to the radio station, I shared with them what I had come on me, and they said, oh, that's beautiful. And they
Wow.
Very great. And then right away, like 2 weeks later, I'm talking to my editor, and said, can we make this happen? And so we did. We turned it into a collaborative book and honored 20 women that are making a difference in the world.
Excellent.
And so now I'm coming back and reassessing, starting an actual movement, if that's what we call it. But it's that emotion that comes along with those light bulbs.
That's right.
Wow.
I liken those moments to an alarm clock. And when I'm a night owl, but I also enjoy getting up early in the morning. But I remember when I was working, I would hit the snooze button. And I think those moments are when the alarm goes off. And unfortunately, a lot of people just hit the snooze button. Mm-hmm. And, just kind of sleep through, quote unquote, sleep through those opportunities that present themselves in a myriad of different ways. So, yeah, I love those great aha moments.
That's a great visual. The alarm clock and the snooze button.
Thank you.
Are you still hitting the snooze, or are you jumping up and ready to go when that alarm?
That's right.
That's a great analogy. Well, let's go on to a topic here, because you're wrapped all around leadership.
That's right.
So do you want to share a few words about your philosophy wrapped around leadership?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I believe, and there's a great expression called listen, learn, and lead. And, as I thought about that, and I came across that a number of years ago, and I'm not sure who to give credit for that, original. I'm big on giving credit, where credit's due on quotes and things, but it was just such a great concept. And I basically adopted it for myself, but I also added a couple of components to it, or a couple of elements to it. And it's listen, learn, love, laugh, and lead. And basically the listening is really paying attention both to the verbal and nonverbal. One of the things that you and I have talked about is sometimes when we're coaching people, having the visual feedback of, are they getting it, or are we misaligned, is very helpful. So it's listening to the unspoken conversation in a lot of cases, as well as what people are saying, of course. So that there's the listening, and then there's learning. There's the desire to say, I don't know everything there is to know. And ultimately, I want to, increase my awareness. I want to increase my knowledge, my wisdom. And we can only do that by listening. So the point in listening is not just as a courtesy, but really to expand our knowledge, expand our perspective and our wisdom. Mm-hmm. And then, I add love, because I think everything that we do really should come from a place of love. And by that, I mean a genuine concern for other people. Mm-hmm. And one of the great philosophies of direct communication is something you've probably come across, is speaking the truth in love. So it is being direct with the feedback, but it's coming from a place of love, of genuine concern for the other person. So one of the questions that I'm asking before I give any feedback to someone is, I just always want to check in, kind of do a heart check to make sure that I really am coming from a place of genuine concern. Laughing is, I love to laugh. I'm kind of a jokester. I'm the guy that I think growing up, a lot of people, when I'd make a joke, they were kind of surprised because I come across as really studious and very serious, but I just love having fun. I believe that, and it comes from a place of deep joy, of being able to laugh through any circumstances. And I know we have some tough challenges, I mean, both in business and in life. But when we have that joy, it just makes those storms so much easier, and just the ability to laugh. And then it's leading. It is taking everything, all of those other elements, and creating a deliberate culture, and being clear about the vision, and encouraging other people. I'm not one to rely on authority to get things done, but really to inspire my team to a point where they really want to do it. And again, not in a manipulative way, but really understanding what's important to them and connecting what's important to them with the organizational mission, and having those both aligned and moving in the same direction. So that's my philosophy in a nutshell.
Well, I'm glad you added those two in, really. And I work from an acronym all the time that's called, it's real success, REAL, success.
Yeah.
And it's realize your vision and dream, and then it's accelerating your abilities and talents. And then, or that's the E is energizing your talents. The A is accelerating them through action steps. And then the L is living out loud.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Fun and freedom. So
yeah,
they're on
excellent.
the same path.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm going to take a second. That kind of leads me into what I'm up to right now. I want to share with everybody my Get It Done workshop that's here. It's 90 days to get your book done. And I have 4 #1. I can't believe it, Clifton. #4 best-selling books right now.
Wow, that's great.
I know, it's amazing. And that happened from the learning process and the ideas and the thinking, and then getting it done, sitting down and doing the work.
Absolutely.
I have created a system that makes it easy. And I keep running into people saying, oh, I've always wanted to write a book, or people tell me I should write a book, or I want to leave a legacy to my children, or somebody just said to me, I want to write a booklet to give to future clients in real estate and that type of thing. And I said, 90 days, let's get it done. So it's a mastermind. I give you the seven steps to write your book, which makes it really easy. It's simple steps and strategies, very easy to do. And then we mastermind together to empower each other to get it done. And I think it takes a village oftentimes it takes a village. It takes more than us trying to do something by ourselves. It's when we come together as a group. So I love that the mastermind is going to be starting here in a few weeks. So you can check it out. You can go to www.claudiacooley.com/mastermind. And you can also email me at claudiacooley.com, and then the subject line, put Get It Done. And I'll get right back to you. I'll send you the free webinar, the videos actually, like a webinar format, but videos, the 3 videos that teach you how to write your book, and it's free. So you want to sign up for that. And then from there, if you want to be part of the mastermind that empowers you to get that done in 90 days, then you can sign up for that. But it's Claudia at claudiacooley.com, and just subject line Get It Done. So let's come back to Clifton.
Yes.
Next, let's talk a couple of things. I'm going to ask you this. What is your greatest strength and weakness?
Okay. So my greatest strength is really I would say it's the wisdom that I carry. It's something that I've had for years. One of the ways I've been described, even as a kid, was just having wisdom beyond my years. And I think that just comes from a natural curiosity. I'm an observer. I pay very, very close attention to details, and I think that's why I've been able to gain the wisdom, and it is a gift, and so I recognize it as that.
Wow.
And so I feel very fortunate just to be able to help people through all types of challenges. I think sometimes people are, they come to me for one thing, and then as we work together, they realize that there might be it might be rooted in something that they had no idea about. And being able to help them navigate that and help them uproot, whatever those challenges are, and then address, on the front end, the behaviors at the same time, as opposed to kind of superficial fixes. So I would say, and it took me a long time to really even acknowledge that and recognize it as a gift. But the more and more I've worked with clients of, all different walks of life, the more, and getting calls from family and friends, it really has helped me gain clarity around that. In terms of my biggest weakness or development opportunity, I would say that to frame it positively, development opportunity.
Go for it. Okay.
Is I would say I because I'm naturally curious, and because I am gifted in different areas, I can generally figure out a lot of different problems. And this is as it relates to my own business, for instance. And so what that means, the downside of that is that I have to remind myself to stay in my lane and to really focus on the things that I do exceptionally well, and then either delegate to other people, or do whatever is necessary. In some cases, just outsourcing or finding someone who's an expert in that area to do that work, as opposed to me trying to spend my time figuring it out. And it's not as I think the thrust behind it is I'm naturally curious. I love problem solving. I love being able to figure things out.
That's
and
me.
Yeah,
I'm
you
always
as well.
Curious,
Yeah. So the challenge is really just reminding myself to focus on those things that I do well, and then I again allow other people to do the work that they excel in, and not try to be so master of all trades, so to speak.
And you know what? I talk about staying in your own lane too. In fact, I have it printed on a bag.
Yeah.
Bag. Stay in your own lane. And from that, I learned when you're out of your lane, it's exhausting.
It is. It absolutely is.
When you're in your own lane, things come your way much more easily. Not that there's not work involved, but it just comes more easily. But I get out of my lane, it's very stressful and exhausting. Not that you don't have the skills. You have skills, but if it's not your lane, like you said earlier, you're in somebody else's seat and you're cheating.
That's right. Exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that I constantly remind myself anytime, I see myself and now I've gotten to the point where I can nip it in the bud and say, because I talk about when I'm coaching and teaching, just a quick story about a health fair. And it was a company I was working with, and they had this huge initiative, and people were really excited about health and wellness. And they launched it in the headquarters in Los Angeles, and then went to a call-taking center where there were 300 or 400 people. Head of HR, that program manager from the headquarters came, did this great presentation. Everyone's really excited. And then they bring out lunch. And guess what they brought for lunch, or they had ordered for lunch? Fried chicken.
Oh,
After a health and wellness.
and a health fair.
Yeah. So when I tell people, and that's an example of a disconnection between the purpose and the person making the tactical decision. But I use that analogy as I call it a bucket of chicken. So anytime that
pizza could have been
right.
worse.
Right. But I say that, anytime you're met with a distraction, just say that's a bucket of chicken as a really quick and
Yeah.
shorthand way of getting people to recognize distractions for what they are and not be tempted to follow them.
That's really great. I always say the shining object or something
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
like
So,
that. Well, we're going to be winding it up here in a few seconds and a few minutes here. Your Let's talk about this. Your focus is what you describe as leadership, life, and legacy. What is that, and why is it important to you?
yeah. So, when it comes down to what does it mean to live a significant life, I think it really boils down to how we do those three things. How do we live? How do we lead? And then what type of legacy are we creating? So, part of what I do and focus on is really just those three things. It's helping people lead boldly, live fully, and create or build a legacy. It's about the not only the success in work, but also matching your professional success with success in life. There's so many people who, if you look at their resume, it's so impressive. But if you were to do a personal resume on that person, it would be pretty sad. And I think if they're honest with you, a lot of people would admit to that in terms of all of the accomplishments on the professional side. But, no trust, no really loving and supportive relationships, strained relationships, all of the challenges that sometimes come with that. So, and that's not living fully, and I don't think that's how we're meant to live. And then ultimately, it's about the legacy that we're building. I believe that we live our legacy; we don't leave one. A lot of people
Yay.
think about that my legacy is created on my deathbed, but in fact, this is at this moment we're creating our legacy. You by doing this your Rev Up for Success radio program, and now offering this as on YouTube in a video format. That's a legacy. That's something that will impact and influence well beyond what you are able to do one-on-one with people. And so I think it's and plus the other work, of course, that you're doing, but it's our ability to, it's the ripple effect. And I say it's not just a little pebble, but we should throw stones into the pond,
Yes.
to create these
A big
huge,
splash.
waves. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that just
Wave,
have that
yes.
ripple effect on and on. Hopefully, for years and generations beyond us.
I love that. That's so great. And I write similar things. We're really so similar on our paths. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
And just yesterday, I was creating a webinar talking about the dash between our birth date and our end date.
Oh, great.
We don't have to wait until we're gone to have that legacy happening. We can enjoy it now. We can
That's right.
Unfolding now. And I do believe I'm a great example at my age to be able to see that I can still contribute.
Absolutely.
And even on now doing the 7 Minute to Ignite Your Week on live Facebook, which, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. And because I feel that it contributes and inspires people's weeks. I've been about your life, expanding your life, igniting your life, igniting your success. But why not each week, So it's like
Absolutely.
I'm narrowing it down. And I feel like this is something I can give to other people because people are always talking about my energy and my vitality. So it's like, why not share it?
Absolutely.
Share it. You can have it. You too can have this is kind of what I say. Well, Clifton, as we end up our last minute here, how do people find you? What do you have going on? Let's tell them about that.
Yeah, so my website is Treasure Holders, and that's holders plural .com. So Treasure Holders, and it's all together.com. And you can. We're actually in the process now. Really exciting of relaunching our my website. So I've been working with some people to really just simplify and really convey exactly what it is that we do in a very dynamic way. So I'm really excited, and it should be launched within the next 7 to 10 days.
So this is a be the treasureholders.com?
.com. Yeah, right now you'll just see anyone who visits within the next few days. We'll just see a countdown to the launch. But yeah, but you can feel free to get in touch with me. Contact us at treasureholders.com is the email. You can find me on LinkedIn. Publish a lot of articles. I don't have any events coming up in the not too in the short term, but we'll be launching a mastermind myself later in the year. So feel free, if anyone's interested in that, to send us an email, and we'll share more about that.
And everyone, I have a newsletter, and you can always subscribe to that, and I will post these kind of things popping up for like Clifton or any of my guests. The things that they have popping up will pop in on those newsletters too, so you'll have them. So excellent day, excellent show. Thank you for saying yes and coming and taking time to help us explore this next level that we're accomplishing actually on Rev Up for Success Radio. So everybody, thank you for joining us, and remember, follow your vision and your path will show up. So thank you for everybody for being here. Have an awesome week.